I was a strong practicing Muslim, but in the night time I would sell drugs.
I don't regret taking a monster off the planet.
Really?
And they diagnosed me close to a psychopath.
Do you think people are born evil?
People's faces was gouged.
Lord have mercy.
Your personal opinion, I don't care.
That's crazy.
I beat a man to death with a baseball bat. I got a life sentence. I'm out now, and I'll answer any of your questions.
He had no remorse doing that.
Yeah, thank God I'm not first.
Alrighty then. Well, peace out, Girl Scouts.
See you later.
See ya. How did you get the murder charge? Like, what's your story?
I had a violent dispute with a man who mistreated my female friend, which ended his life.
Imagine killing someone though, like, that's mad.
I'm gonna tell you a little story, like my personal experience with like murder. Someone in the older year who I consider a friend. He was a talented young boy. There was a few gang members and they stabbed him. Tragedy struck, his life got taken away. He actually died on my eldest sister's birthday.
Oh my God.
Oh.
She's so brave for telling that.
My heart absolutely broke for him. I was devastated. If that's how I felt, imagine how his family felt. Even now, we're still trying to cope. My question is, to the person you ended the life of, what would you say to the victim's family or loved ones if they were here right now instead of me?
Good question.
I love it. She's so
Good
sassy.
question.
I love it.
I'm sorry for your loss, but circumstances would have it. Things happened that led up to his life being taken away. And I never in my life imagined me taking anybody's life. I didn't wake up with intention to take anybody's life on that day. But when things unfold the way they unfold, it's out of my hands, isn't it? And I think it's in the hands of something way bigger than us.
He's not answering the question about the family though.
He still took somebody's life, you know, that's... Is it forgivable?
How did you cope, like being in prison? Like, how did you keep your mental health in check?
I bought a pad.
What, the period pad?
No, a period pad, you're funny.
Period pad.
I bought a notepad
Yeah.
for writing my lyrics.
Yeah.
I put my emotions through my lyrics. Very therapeutic. I can talk to the youngest through my lyrics as well.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I feel like I'm giving something back.
Saying it's pretty much okay if you give something back to society, that's okay.
Exactly.
But that's not, because what are you giving back to society? Music.
Cool, so kind of scaring me a little bit. Cool.
I could tell Mo's bricking it already.
I've always wanted to know it from the films, obviously. Have you almost accidentally dropped the soap?
That's in films.
So that don't happen in real life?
Oh, God.
Not the soap, not the soap.
That don't happen in real life. It's in films. That's in films. Never in my experience.
Oh, he's funny, man.
How did you party in jail? Because it's like just a man sausage. Would you get the guards in?
What kind of? I just don't man sausage to me, bruv. Man don't play them games, bruv. Man sausage, don't bring them things to me. Take it down.
Whoa.
What was he saying now?
Not saying like, how do you party in?
Man get high on the landing, bruv. Drink hooch. Go on, carry on now, man.
So,
No, you're all right, man. You're calm still.
what was your favorite meal to cook in jail?
Rice and peas,
What type of meat?
lamb.
I usually go for the mix, sausage, lamb, beef.
Still on the sausage shit.
Sausage! You can't get sausage off his mind.
No, I'm talking
Still
about
on the
different
sausage
meats.
shit. You think it's a joke? You see, if you done this shit on the landing, I pray to God you never go prison. Because you see, you do this shit on the landing, man will quickly show you that your jokes will be short-lived. What are you trying to achieve with all this sausage, Joe?
No,
You
I'm,
like sausage?
I'm saying I like to eat a lot of
Oh,
meat.
you like to eat a lot of sausage? You like
no,
to eat a lot of meat?
like I try
What does
different
it do for you?
foods.
What does it do for you?
Just, it fills me up.
Stop running them little foolish jokes on, man. I don't play that shit. I don't tolerate that. And none of the man them do neither. See, if you think that's gonna run, it's not gonna run. It stops now. Now. Don't let me tell you again, you know.
Sorry.
This is real life.
Right now.
You know what? I was only joking.
He's joking, yeah?
Just giving you a little sample of what prison life is like. It can get like that. A man can go from 0 to 100 real quick. And then what are you gonna do? All you was doing is running an innocent joke. But in another man's head, he just had a stressful phone call. His baby mother just left him. Or his family member's sick, or he found out he can't get parole.
Yeah.
Or he's got to do more time, extra charges. Everyone in there can be a potential ticking time bomb. So I just wanted to give you a little sample of what it's like, you see, because you're a comedian, but sometimes that might not be appropriate in the jail setting. You get me? So it's all love.
I'd get Chris rocked. I'll not bang any more jokes ever again, sorry.
Oh no, it's hilarious. Oh, bless him.
I personally believe that you aren't born, evil. I don't think you're not born to kill. So I want to know, well, why? How did you get there?
Well, you become a product of your environment, you see, the surroundings you're living in and what goes on around you, you see. Like for instance, I don't know if you got a mother, a sister, maybe a niece, a cousin or something like that that's female. But if one of them come to you and say they've been assaulted and they don't want to tell anybody else but you and they want you to tell that monster to stay away from them, are you going to turn around and back your sister or your mum or your little cousin or your niece and go like a man and go to that person and say, stay away from my loved one? Or I'll do something about it.
You don't sometimes decide to kill someone.
Yeah, there is other stuff you could have done to prevent it.
I think I would go to the police.
What, you wouldn't back your mum?
Well, I would back her, but I don't.
How would you
I don't
back your
think-
mum then?
Well, I wouldn't choose violence.
Well, if you saw a man trying to grab your mum into a bush out on the road, what are you going to do?
I would help her.
How are you going to
obviously.
help her? You're going to shout for help while
Well,
the man's
no.
trying to drag her in the bush? What are you
But I
going to do
won't
then?
be killing him.
What are you going to do then? Say if you have to punch him a few times, you're going to punch him?
Well,
You're gonna
yeah,
hit him?
if I have to.
But say if them injuries cause his death, what are you going to do then? When you're facing a jury and they say, listen, young man, I know you're defending your mum, but you hit that man a few too many times and now he's dead and it's your responsibility. What are you going to do?
Damn, not the table slam.
Still not good enough. Why should you kill? It's not the right thing to do.
Of course it's not the right thing to do, but
But you did it.
Circumstances happen in life sometimes.
No, yeah, he's right.
Yeah,
A little bit. Don't you think he's right?
He makes good, valid points. I'll give him that.
Sex. Does it happen in prison? Did you do it? Did people in your cell do it?
Well, sex in prison, it does happen, yes. Between man on man, yes, it does happen. Some prisons, they even offer you condoms in reception. Was I involved in any sex with any man in prison? No. I'm not that way inclined, each to their own. Did I have any relationships with female officers? Yes, I did, a few times.
Wow.
Yeah, takes two to tango, young man.
It does, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Why didn't you go straight to the police?
At that age and at that time,
How old was you?
19. That's
Wow.
all my brain was probably limited to. I didn't probably know any better than that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what other angles to explore, what other roads to explore, what other help to go and get. All I knew was, all right, we don't call the police.
It was 19. 19, that is so young.
He said to my friend that he was a gangster. He's got a lot of soldiers around him and he's a dangerous man. Like I'm thinking, pull up to this guy and he's got his friends and a machete and a gun or something like that, and then we're the ones in trouble now because we're going in way above our heads.
Yeah.
But obviously what I expected didn't really happen. He didn't have no gun, he didn't have no knife, but what he did do caused the reaction that made me hand out some violence. So when he grabbed my friend, I just thought, I have to get him off of her. She's screaming,
You believe that resulted in his death?
Yeah, because the way it happened is I hit him a few times around his head and neck area.
Was this with the baseball?
The baseball bat. He tried to disarm me of the baseball bat, you see. And when he was coming at me trying to grab this bat, it's physical now. It's on. It's happening in the heat of the moment. I've already attacked him. He's probably wanting to attack me back now, or probably take the bat off of me and hit me, but I'm just still swinging it until he dropped on the floor, and then I ran off.
When you realised he was dead, did you think, crap?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I was down on my knees praying to God.
Really?
Yeah, saying, God, please don't make this man die. I didn't mean to kill him. I don't want to go to jail for
So
a
there
life.
is quite a lot of remorse in yourself.
Yeah.
He didn't want to kill him, he just wanted to like hurt him a little bit.
I wouldn't take it into my own hands. Maybe, you know, there's ways you can say leave me alone without involving violence. I don't think, in your shoes, I don't think it's up to you whether this guy dies or not.
You know, I make you right, and it wasn't up to me because it wasn't my choice to take his life.
Yeah.
It was my choice to be there, to be the deterrent, to keep this man away from my friend.
Do you regret what you did? Or do you think you hurt him so much that he did, you know, get what he deserved?
Yes and no. No, I don't regret taking a monster off the planet.
Yeah.
But the regret I do feel maybe is for his kids and stuff growing up without no dad. I know what it was like to grow up without a dad.
Sure.
I do have certain regrets for people in his family maybe who don't deserve to go through that turmoil and that the stress of it all.
But at the end of the day, he still did it. He still killed him. And I do not agree with it. I do not agree with violence, and I think he was wrong.
It's so nice to her, but then when it's me, it's like a bang.
You just talked way too much about sausages.
Was a mastermind behind one of the biggest robberies in England. £5 million worth of motherboards and £100 million worth of data. We went as a fast response robbery team, police uniforms, police vans, police cars, and I'm here today to answer any of your questions.
Dressed up as police officers, police vehicles, how is that even done?
There's no way you could get away with that.
Man, I think that's so
GTA.
GTA
in real life.
Some video game.
GTA London.
Best of luck, yeah?
Thank you.
No
I'm
pressure.
gonna need it.
Everyone makes money legally or illegally. What made you decide that, yeah, this was the right thing to do rather than just getting an actual job?
My mum was a professional shoplifter. My dad was an armed robber, and everybody I knew was into crime. So it was normal. I was surrounded by people that earn their money by doing criminality.
What's a professional shoplifter?
It runs in the genes, bro. It runs in the genes.
And I looked upon it as a job, but we was professional criminals. Whatever we did, we gave it 120%. You know, we went at it. You know, we were highly motivated, very professional. We weren't just running into places, brandishing guns and hitting open. We planned jobs for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I could do that though.
No, you couldn't. No. You would not want that lifestyle.
We wanted to take the art of robbery to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't want to be like your normal armed robber. We got approached by an underworld contact. Verizon was one of the biggest data protection facilities in England. It holds banking data for JP Morgan. When I looked at it the first time, it was impossible. I met lots of people in the underworld that had looked at it and had been offered the job. And all turned it down because they had 10 security guards, had an independent security company, and they had 24-hour patrols there, and they had 3 police stations within the vicinity. And anyone that would take it on had to be completely mad. And I saw a move. We didn't want to take any guns, so we just wanted to use our intellect.
So if you didn't have guns and stuff like that, so how did you?
So we went in as a fast response robbery squad, all in police uniforms, police van, a car, and a dog. I think we was in there for 1 hour.
I can't lie, whoever came up with that plan, they're smart.
That was me.
He's giving away the plan for the younger lots.
I need to go get a note. I need to get pen and paper, bro.
On my life. When I was in school, I was a bit of a silly guy. So I used to be in isolation all the time for just trolling my teachers and stuff. Was you ever in isolation?
You know, I never went. I got expelled. I got expelled in junior school.
In junior school?
Bro was stealing everyone's milk.
Yeah, literally.
A kid attacked me. I picked up a pen case. It was metal, and I stabbed him with it. And then they put me into a home. It was for the worst kids in London. And the first minute I got there, I knew I landed in hell. I was one of the youngest kids to go into this place. 11 years old. I thought I could look after myself. And as soon as I got in there, some kid just walked up to me, 3 of them. One of them punched me straight in the face.
For no reason?
Yeah. And there was 2 other kids that come with me. One of them got pissed on that night.
That's the sad part, and that's the problem. Because they just send them off to these places from such a young age where everyone else is a criminal.
Yeah, I had a similar story. My first week of year 6, I was winding up some guy, winding him up, and then he went to the bin, sharpened the pen, and then stabbed me. I think I got the mark. It's a little mark in it, but...
Do you know what? I've done the same thing. I got 150 stitches in now, 120 on the inside, and the rest on the outside. And that was stopping someone from putting a machete over my head.
In your head?
Yeah. He actually hit me on top of the head.
Whose mark do you think's bigger?
Yours, of course.
Twins.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we've lived the same shank lifestyle. Like.
Let's say I'm on Belmarsh with you on the same wing. Do you think I'd last because I'm a joker?
It depends on who you are joking with. If you start joking about something and you can't read the situation, you're going to get weighed in.
What do you think, left or right?
I would go straight down the middle. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a cock. I know.
Yeah. God, you're scaring me right now.
All joking aside, prison is very volatile.
That's what's crazy. That's what scares me about prison.
But what age did you start going to prison? What was your first
I think my first prison sentence, I was 17.
Okay, was you scared when you went to prison, or was you feeling like the man?
I can always remember sitting outside Pentonville the first time I ever went there, and I was sitting in the sweat box. It was pissing down the rain, it was cold, I had butterflies in my stomach, and I could hear people shouting out the windows, and I could see screws walking past, the jingling of keys. Yeah, I was scared.
It's like when you come in, you're at the bottom, like everyone's here experiencing jail and you're just the little guy.
So when you're in prison, you have to be that guy. You can't look scared. So how was you? Was there any bravado in there, or was you just that guy?
It's the survival of the fittest in prison. You have to look the part, you have to act the part. You see lots of things. I can remember coming out of my cell one day and some geezer cut his balls off and threw it at the screw.
Whoa! Whoa! He's just said that with a straight face as well, as if it's like a normal thing. He's like, yeah, I've seen a bloke just cut off his balls. Like, no biggie, that's just what happens, you know?
That's the norm.
You know?
There's a lot of really mad people. And you know, they turn on the sixpence. You could be in a queue and then one of them will walk up behind you and stab you in the eye. I saw one screw get his throat cut, and as I looked on the floor, I see all the blood come on the stairs, but it was like jelly, and he cut him good.
Oh.
See what I mean? Like,
He's saying that so normally, yeah? Like he got shanked in his eye,
yeah,
his leg,
it's casual.
left ball sack, normal.
And the screams are, that, you know, you go to bed at night, you think about them.
Wow.
You called yourself a mastermind, but how did you get caught? You know?
Unfortunately, a friend of mine used the same MO with a police uniform. A few months later, he and someone else got arrested on the job. They then showed my picture to a load of security guards, and they said, that's a guy that done Verizon. And then all of a sudden, I had 50 police forces from around England coming to visit me.
Is that not scary? Like any time you can get caught.
Yeah, that's like I'm getting swatted.
I'll be paranoid, bro.
Yeah.
I was actually in my girlfriend's flat. I looked over the balcony and I saw a woman walk past and a guy, and they just didn't look right. I had a rucksack on the table. I ran through grabbed hold of the thing, pulled myself onto the roof. I went all the way along, jumped down the other end, and as I came out of the block, right down the other end, about 20 old people were going into the flat. And that was the first time I realised that they were onto me.
He just jumped over the balcony, lighting.
I was doing Assassin's Creed.
Normal, innit?
So I was on the run for a year, and I was just about to fly to Thailand. I'd arranged to pick up a passport. Next thing I knew, I was walking along, a police car mounted the pavement, come flying towards me. I threw my phone over the wall, and as I turned around, another one came there, and then a van came, and the next thing, I was spread eagled on the floor. And that was it, but it was actually quite relief.
Oh, his life is a movie.
Do you feel that you are never going to touch, you know, crime ever again?
I actually spent 2.5 years in a therapeutic prison. I learned a lot about myself, and I came to understand myself, so I stopped drinking, stopped smoking, stopped taking drugs. So I became less angry. I became a born-again Christian, and I made a deal with God. Come to me and let me do the rest.
Right.
And since that day, I've come out and I've turned my life around.
How much do you think religion plays a role in reform?
A big role, because like you
Definitely.
follow guidelines, innit?
Yeah.
So you have set rules.
It teaches you in the way that you should go.
I left prison with a tent, but I was pretty lucky because I had a good support network. But you know, there was lots of temptation. People offered me kilos of cocaine, kilos of puff, kilos of weed. They offered me lots of jobs to go back into the game I was in.
Indeed.com, yeah?
Bro's
Get back
talking
in the
about it
game.
like he's going back to football or something.
LinkedIn, can I sell some crack? Please.
But I promised my kids that I would lead a different life, and luckily for me, I did. You know, the skills I had were very transferable. I wasn't a lazy criminal. I used to work from 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
That's
12 o'clock.
crazy. That's honestly crazy, yeah.
I've used that ethos to come out and do a straight business. I started up a food company with my daughter and her boyfriend. I put the same amount of energy into the straight business now than what I did into criminality. We are more than our past, and if we put the same amount of energy into honest work, we can change our lives.
Imagine Criminal MasterChef.
I want to watch that.
Jail Cooks.
I wanna
That's a
watch
TV
that.
show right there.
Do you ever have any regret about the choices you made?
Being a professional criminal, you go to work and you don't feel no empathy. But as I've got older, I sort of look at what I did as abnormal. You know, I can't believe that I was actually going around terrorising people and doing what I did. Do I have any regrets? Oh, massive. What started out as something really good turned out to be one of the worst mistakes of my life and one of the shittest environments I could ever walk into. And 15 years in prison is a testament to a lifestyle that I should never have gone down.
No, I got respect for him, you know.
Even
I feel like before I was being a dickhead. Before.
Even after he called you that?
He called me what? Yeah, I did roast him, innit? It's love, innit?
I sold drugs from when I was 14 to anyone. I was a drugs mule. I don't regret it. I'll answer any questions.
She seems like a person that would stand her ground.
I'm scared. Good luck, Krista.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Oh, this is gonna be fun to watch. This is gonna be fun to watch.
Why drugs? You can have almost anything as a side hustle.
I got fascinated by the fact of having nicer things. So for me, I wanted nice trainers. I didn't want £30 trainers on the market no more. Where I lived, there was a lot of substance misusers. It was an opportunity to make quick cash with people in the area that wanted to get high. So I sold cannabis, crack, and heroin.
We all want nice things, but we all work for it, not in that.
Yeah. Because like she wants like immediate like reward. She couldn't be bothered to wait.
How was you in school?
I went to a Catholic high school. I was a model student. So my friendship group, we went youth club, we did dance. I danced in a girls group.
Oh, I do that.
I used to go football on a Wednesday or Thursday. I did activities. But amongst doing activities, I would slide out of the youth club to sell drugs. So out of all my friends, I was the only one who sold drugs.
She was like a model student. Yeah. She had it going for her. And yet she still chose to do drugs.
How was like your upbringing?
I've been brought up a Roman Catholic. So I've been baptized, I've had my Holy Communion, I've had my confirmation, and I've been Muslim. Sounds a bit hypocritical, but for about 2 years I was a strong practicing Muslim, but in the night time I would sell drugs. I wanted my £20 back.
When you sell drugs, have you ever had like a bad encounter with a client?
I was about 15. I went to sell drugs and we've done the exchange. And as I've walked away, I could feel the money doesn't feel like money.
Yeah.
I've looked at it and I've opened it up and it's Bob Marley.
Instead of Queen Elizabeth.
All right, so I've walked over to my house and I went and grabbed my knife.
So you really wasn't having it, it just really pushed you off the edge.
I went to stab the man.
She was ready to stab him. Yeah.
Luckily, another crackhead came and had a word with me. But he saved me. He saved me from myself at that moment. But for the status of selling drugs, that's what comes with, innit? So you have to have that bravado. If you don't have that bravado, everybody's gonna take the mick, innit?
I expected her to say, don't do what I did, but...
She hasn't said that yet.
No, she hasn't.
So I heard you use the word crackhead. Do you think that it's insensitive in a way because it doesn't really consider the effects of drugs and the effect on people?
Well, my dad's a crackhead, so crackhead is a crackhead.
Oh my God. Talk about a plot twist.
If you did see the similarities of your dad with these people, did you not have much sympathy for the further effects, the long term, or was it just about the money?
It's about making money. I didn't really care about anything to do with my dad like that. He made a choice, and life's about choices. That's the choice you make. I don't care. It's not my business.
So she's not taking any accountability with her actions. She's blaming it on the people who get the drugs from her. We're affiliated with it.
I've just learned to have a conscience in the last 3 years, so I've never felt guilt regret or anything no. It's a business. I was the businesswoman at that time. So I put myself in the middle of the circle and I allowed all these crackheads to come to me. I was the pharmacist.
Pharmacist, she said she calls herself a pharmacist.
But there's other ways to make money. Isn't prison supposed to be like rehabilitation? You're supposed to reflect on your actions. You're supposed to regret and move on from them actions. But you say you don't regret anything.
That's a sick question. I don't regret nothing. What would I need to regret? A life of dealing to people who wanted to be dealt to. I don't have no regret. All I'm doing is supplying to people who want something that's in demand. I don't have no regret to that. If I'm not going to do it, someone else will. My path of changing started when I went to prison. That's when my penny dropped.
But she had such a good life there for her and she chose this
She could have thrived through it.
Were you a Muslim in prison?
I was a practicing Muslim. I had my Quran, I had my prayer mat, I prayed, I did Ramadan.
So what was it like?
It was beautiful. My faith kept me going, innit? I learned discipline within myself again. I was being protected by somebody higher than me because I had a faith.
It's always about faith, you know, if that's important in religion.
So what did you do the first night you got there in prison?
So the first night I got there, went down to dinner, and that was where the reality shock kind of kicked in. Everybody in that ward had either been put in there because they're either harming themselves, they've got mental health issues, they're suicidal, or they've attempted to hurt somebody else. So at that evening of dinner, I could feel all these eyes looking at me. Women had cuts up their arms, people's faces was gouged, and it was a very panicking situation. So got my food, and I sat there like this for the whole time, and I ate the food, and I didn't look at nobody.
Oh, that definitely opened up her eyes for real.
As they've walked me to the cell, and as she's opened the door, it looked like a black cave. There was just this girl on the bed rocking. And the officer's gone to turn to ask me if I'm all right. You've just heard this tear, like the tear rolled. Slapped the shiny floor. The woman said, "Are you all right?" I said, "No, I'm not all right." She said, "Do you want to make a phone call?" Tears running down my eyes. And I went and phoned my mum. And I said to her, "I can't do this. I cannot do this." My mum said, "Nequela, you put yourself in this situation. You're the only one who can get you out of it." She said, "Chin up, my girl. There's no crying now. Wipe your tears and go in the cell." And that was the real first day of prison for me.
Lord have mercy.
How did you get arrested, and when did they give you your sentence?
I was a drugs mule. So I worked with an international gang that used me to supply drugs around the country. The morning I got arrested, I went to the trap house to pick up the drugs, and I went on my 9.5-hour journey on the train up to Aberdeen. As soon as I've got out off the train, before I've even got out of the station, I felt a hand tap me. "Excuse me, we believe you've got drugs on you." They've searched me. Drugs have just come from different parts of my body out onto the floor.
Dealing drugs is bad. Drugs harms like a lot of people.
And how long did you get sentenced?
I pled guilty, so I got a 4-year sentence. I did just under a year in prison.
But they gave you 4 years. That was your time. What you did was very illegal, and it kind of seems like they let you off because you was a good girl. I personally think that, you know, you could have got a bit longer.
But firstly, your personal opinion, I don't care. Secondly, I'm transporting drugs as a child for adults, so who really should get more time, the child or the adult?
This is a good heated debate.
How did you find prison life in general?
It allowed me to look into myself.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to see where I wanted to place myself in society when I came back out. So I went to prison to learn. As much as it was a bad situation, I learned tenfold out of it.
Do you
You're all in there as a criminal.
It should be a punishment though?
It is punishment. Your freedom's been taken away. I learned about myself. Not everybody goes into these places and learns about themselves.
I don't know if she's being genuine. I don't know if she's actually telling the truth.
She's telling the truth.
She's telling the truth, but,
I don't
is
know.
her feelings genuine is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Did she really learn anything?
I got to be an enhanced prisoner. An enhanced prisoner means you're the highest prisoner in the prison. You're a trusted prisoner.
Yeah.
You had your own key, you had your own room, you had your, like the shower facilities was beautiful, you had shower and bath, you had a hair room at the end of the landing.
Hair room?
Yeah, hair room, you had straighteners at the back, you
Really?
can do ironing.
Wow,
Yeah, hair
luxury.
room, you had straighteners.
Yeah.
So it's not like the slums.
I never knew that.
Or in just a new black.
Yeah.
And then through there, you had the
mini hotel.
big living room. So you had 50-inch plasma, we had leather sofas and carpet on the floor. So 8 o'clock in the morning, the officer would open the block. 8 o'clock at night, the officer would lock the block. You can sleep in other people's rooms, you could do whatever you like. You had freedom, you was trusted.
So you guys had sleepovers, girls' night.
Girls' night.
You had freedom.
Do you think that that's very soft for a prison? It's basically a hotel.
Just because you're a criminal, do you think that your human rights or your basic
Not at all,
needs should be
but I
taken
don't
and
think-
removed? Criminals shouldn't be treated no different with people.
You don't think that?
No, I don't.
No matter
No,
what
I
the
don't.
crime is?
No, I don't. We're people, innit? That's like you going into prison and judging everybody else's crime. We're all in there for a crime at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you can't say that criminals are criminals and they should be devalued more than anybody else in society.
Both of them are making really good points.
It's a punishment, you know, you need to be punished.
Yeah, the prison system already dehumanizes somebody. What more can you take away from someone to dehumanize them? So why take away everything else they've got? You're not going to rehabilitate that person. And it's meant to be a rehabilitating service.
See what she's done conflicts with her personality, because obviously it seems like she's a changed person now. At least she got the wake-up call. It could have been way worse.
I've been convicted of multiple GBHs. I put a man in a coma, and now I'm a multi-millionaire, and I'll answer any question.
What? Steady. Why were you so violent?
So I was a very angry kid. I had a very abusive dad who was an alcoholic. So the only expression we ever really showed in our family was anger. I would like go to my own room and punch myself in the head because I was just so angry.
You lot ever punch yourself in the face?
So horrible to me. I thought I was.
No, I ain't never done that.
I'm 13 years old. What were you doing when you were my age?
So at your age, things were starting to get bad. I would just deliberately smash things, light fires, shoplift, and cause a lot of criminal damage. I'd go and smash every single bus stop window.
What was you lot doing at 13? I was playing Moshi Monsters. 13, I was playing Moshi Monsters.
And then getting a bit older, drink, drugs. I'd felt powerless my whole life. And then when I got a bit stronger, I started to fight back and I got a bit of power back. A bit of significance made me feel strong. And I kind of became a little bit addicted to fighting. You know, I had an ASBO. And a year after, I was expelled from school.
We all have the ability to be bad. We all have that in us, you know what I mean?
And there was one night where I was in a taxi queue and I jumped to the front of the taxi queue and skipped the queue. Didn't realise, but I was just so drunk I kind of stumbled in there. And to this day, and this is no excuse, but I just want to try and explain, to this day, when I think about the guy that I hit, all I can see is my dad's face. Right, so I know that he triggered me, which is no excuse. I take full responsibility. I just snapped and just attacked him.
Do you think he's crazy?
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of my family are actually police officers. So I've heard how maybe easy it is. As soon as you go into prison, I do feel like no matter what your crime was, how bad it was, I feel like there's a lot of, oh, are you okay? Like, is everything all right with you? How are you feeling today? People who are suffering don't get that. So why all of a sudden someone who's done something so terrible, you know, getting all this help from such professionals all of a sudden? But then there's people that need it.
I can answer it. They do get it. It is available for people. It's not just available to convicted criminals.
But it's there for them as soon as they're in.
Yeah, because they've traumatized. A lot of them have been raped. A lot of them have been sexually abused as a child. You know, and all you see is a symptom that's occurred as a result of that. But these people need help. These people don't need locking up and throwing the key away.
They also need to be punished, I think.
And they are punished because they're sitting in a cell.
I could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
I think it's
go to prison first, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll have some trauma first, and then we'll talk about it.
Prison's meant to be a place where, you know, you're meant to, well, be punished. You know, you've got to treat you like a prisoner and not someone that, you know,
you're locked behind your door for 23 hours a day, you do get treated like a prisoner, trust me.
She has a good point. Yeah.
No, I hear it.
Yeah.
Do you think you're rehabilitated?
I don't think I'm rehabilitated, no. I'm not fixed, and I never will be. There's a saying in Narcotics Anonymous, which is yesterday's shower doesn't keep you clean today.
You said you used to switch on and off with your anger. Do you think that it could possibly return?
Absolutely. I'm under no illusion that I'm fixed.
Do you think that you have to hit rock bottom to go to the top?
I feel like I've got an upper hand on you, right? Because they say voids create values, and I've always had this need for significance. My dad, I didn't feel like he loved me, so now I have this huge void, and I channeled it in the complete wrong areas through power and violence. But now I've channeled it into business and making myself the best person I can be and helping people and making the world a better place, to the point where it's a compelling force that just I can't stop.
So I have to feel awful not being able to get the respect of your father. Yeah, because he couldn't control how his father behaved, so it's good that he turned it into something positive at least.
So what I've done is bad, but in terms of my life path and the things that I've been able to achieve has actually had a positive impact on the world. But I wouldn't go back and change it.
You wouldn't go back and change it?
No, I don't regret any of it.
So the guy that you hit,
Yeah.
do you not think his life was impacted by what you did? What would you say to him, honestly?
I would have said sorry.
Yeah.
And I would have said thank you.
Yeah.
Because he was the last significant thing that made me change. I regret that I've caused harm to him and his family, of course.
Okay.
But I don't regret everything as a whole, because otherwise I wouldn't be where I am now.
You don't need trauma and that kind of thing to be who you want to be. Because you did a lot of violent acts that kind of affected people's families. Did you experience guilt or shame?
I'll be completely honest, because I want to be completely truthful. I didn't experience any shame or guilt. They sent me for a psychiatric assessment and they diagnosed me with an antisocial personality disorder, close to a psychopath.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't label myself a psychopath, but I would label myself as someone on the low scale end of the emotions.
Yeah.
And it's because I've shut them down over the years of trauma. So I didn't understand remorse, guilt, shame. But in terms of a feeling, to be honest, at the time, I didn't feel anything though.
Wow. When you entered prison, did you carry that violence with you, or did you want to leave it behind immediately?
I had a breakthrough moment. I realised that I needed to stop blaming everything and everyone around me for why my life was so tough. And I realised that if I wanted my life to change, I had to change myself. I've always been very addictive.
Right.
So I've been addicted to drugs, alcohol, gambling, everything you can think of.
Yeah.
And somehow, miraculously, I became addicted to kind of working on myself. So I became obsessive with it.
Yeah.
The library, the free psychiatrist, the rehabilitation program, the maths and English lessons, the gym, the time to think and just reflect on myself.
Yeah. People that are suffering with so much issues aren't getting seen to quick enough, which then ends in them doing stuff like this by putting people in comas. However, when they're in prison and already done their horrible stuff, then they're getting seen to, and it's put a plaster on it, make sure they're okay, and it's well, there actually are people that need help before it ends in prison.
The violence, did that continue through prison? Is there
Some of
any,
the things that went on were horrible. People were getting stabbed, people were getting put in tuna cans in socks and getting smashed around the back of the head, or pillowcases over their head and just beaten up. As soon as that door opens in the morning, they rush in, they steal everything, and they beat you up. It can get very extreme. They even put sugar into a kettle, let it boil, push it on your face, so they can peel the skin off their face. I mean, it's nasty stuff. And peel the skin off their face.
Oh my God.
The first time you've been sentenced to prison, how did that kind of feel?
I probably thought it was quite cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, there was probably a bit of nerves and probably a little bit of apprehension, but at the same time it was almost a bit I've gone to prison, my mates are going to think I'm really cool now.
If you went to prison, would you think it would be cool?
No.
How would you feel?
No. Embarrassed.
Embarrassed?
Mm-hmm.
How did you become a millionaire?
In the early days, all I did was help people and try and help as many people as I could and share awareness as much as I could by sharing my story. That started off as a one-to-one thing, but then I hired team members, and if you do the right thing at the right time with the right market, things can grow very, very quickly. We now help other people transform their lives and then become life coaches. I've got 5,000 of them.
Set me up with a life coach, man. I'm plugging you. Now you got money. How much money do you have?
My business is being officially valued at $25 million.
25 million.
But
how much did that watch cost?
15,000.
Guess how much this costs?
You can tell £5.
Oh, well done.
One and two.
You're so well done.
At first I was like,
So, how do you feel walking around with materialistic items? Does it make
I'm
you
not
feel
really
better?
normally a materialistic guy, right? I'm a digital nomad, so I don't have a car or a house.
So
I
what
just
does that
travel.
mean? What, you just fly through a laptop? How do you travel to places?
I own 2 suitcases, that's all I have.
Really?
And I will rent cars, I will stay in hotels, and I'll rent villas, and I'll decide where I want to go.
He thinks he's such a cool person.
No, I think it's because of something about his journey that he's had. I feel like that's kind of boosted his ego a bit.
If I had money, I don't know what I'd spend it on. Probably milkshakes. Maybe I like shoes, so I'll probably buy shoes.
Replace that bracelet.
Okay, well you don't have to come for it. We get you a millionaire. Now you got a Rolex, but you don't have to. It shines a little bit. It's fake, but it shines.